background. I was in DC on 9/11, working for the George W. Bush administration, actually working on his faith-based and community initiatives, if anybody remembers that. And after 9/11, the agenda changed and they needed people to help with Homeland Security. And I moved into the White House Office of Homeland Security and did initially answered phones and then eventually started doing some policy work and learned from some really amazing professionals in law enforcement and the military intelligence, and just kind of none of them liked to do writing. They were all operators, and I was pretty decent at writing. So I was like their policy writer while they told me what they wanted to fix. And so kind of learned on the job how to do Homeland Security policy. And I've been doing it ever since. And most of that time period, of course, I was focused on the threat from Al Qaeda, and then it became the threat from ISIS. And then it became the threat from US citizens that were radicalizing online, inspired by ISIS. And that was a big shift. And then when I went back into government, I was asked to come and work in the Trump administration. I did not work on his campaign. I was not a Trump supporter, but somebody from the Bush administration that I'd worked with was like, "Hey, we need help. Can you come in?" And I reluctantly said yes. When I'm there, all of a sudden, Charlottesville happens, and then the Pittsburgh Tree of Life synagogue shooting happened. And then Christchurch, which was overseas in New Zealand, but also a white supremacist manifesto that had targeted Muslims. And then we had a few smaller attacks, but the big one in 2019 was the El Paso Walmart shooting. So as you know, that 3-year period I just described is happening, the counterterrorism community is sitting here going, this is different. What is happening? Are we going back to the 1990s where we had the last spate of militia, white power movement, extremists, and we turned to our intel analysts and like, tell us what's happening. And of course, they had not been allowed to look at domestic terrorism much of the last decade. And, another story as to why, but they couldn't tell us. They couldn't tell us what was happening. So as a policymaker, that's really hard.